Three unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. Do you hear that? Mysterious music echoes through these crumbling ruins. But who composed it and how did it survive for thousands of years? Archaeologists uncovered this ancient tomb in 1978. It was filled with treasures, but it took decades to open because it was sealed shut for so long. Inside, they found statues of gods and goddesses. But who built the tomb and why? And what happened to the people who lived here? This is the legendary ruler's grave. He united Egypt after a civil war, but his enemies destroyed his monuments, and his memory faded into myth. All that remains is a single scarab beetle, a tiny piece of his legacy. But no mystery is more perplexing than this one. What is this place? And how did it get here? It was discovered by an explorer in 1922. It baffled scientists and historians. Is it a tomb? Is it a temple? What is its purpose? And why does it look so familiar? These are just three of the many unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. What are your thoughts? Emperor Qin Shi Huang's tomb is one of the most mysterious places in the world. Even though it's illegal to enter, treasure hunters have tried, and some have even died trying. Hi, it's me, and this is my channel. Today we're going to explore the secrets of the emperor's tomb. Let's get started. Qin Shi Huang was the first person to unite China over 2,000 years ago. He was the most powerful emperor of the Qin dynasty, which lasted from 221 BC to 206 BC. During his reign, he standardized weights and measures, created a unified currency, and built roads and canals throughout the empire. He also established a centralized government and a system of laws that were applied equally to all subjects. In addition, he reformed the military and created a powerful army that was equipped with standardized weapons and armor. He was also responsible for the construction of the Great Wall of China, which was intended to protect the empire from invaders from the north. After his death, his accomplishments were built upon by his successors, and the achievements of the Qin dynasty laid the foundation for the development of China as a unified and centralized state. But when he died in 210 BC, he wanted to take all of his riches with him. The emperor had a massive tomb constructed so he could be buried with all of his treasures. It's located near the city of Xi'an in the hills of Shanxi province. And archaeologists have discovered that it's one of the biggest underground structures ever made by humans. But what's inside the tomb is even more amazing. The discovery of the tomb was actually a bit of an accident. In 1974, some well diggers were working near the city when they came across a life-sized terracotta soldier. They didn't know it at the time, but they had just stumbled upon the largest collection of ancient life-sized sculptures ever found. Over the years, archaeologists have uncovered thousands of these statues, each one unique with its own face and armor. They're so realistic that they almost look like they could be breathing. It took about 7,000 artisans 30 years to complete the statues. They include not only soldiers, but also horses and chariots. But the most interesting part of the discovery is still to come. We don't know what's inside the emperor's tomb because it hasn't been opened yet. That's right. Even though it's been more than 2,000 years since Emperor Qin Shi Huang was buried, his tomb remains unopened. It's not because archaeologists haven't tried, it's because they're afraid of what might happen once they open it. You see, there are legends that say the emperor's tomb is booby-trapped. According to ancient texts, there are flowing rivers of mercury, a ceiling made of pearls, and even deadly traps that will fire at anyone who enters the tomb. Well, modern technology has proven that at least some of the legends are true. Scientists have scanned the tomb and found high levels of mercury in the soil. This means that there are definitely underground rivers of mercury in the tomb. But what else might be lurking in the shadows? It's possible that the traps described in the ancient texts are also real. If they are, they could be triggered by any movement or light. It's also possible that the tomb contains other booby traps that haven't been described. After all, it's been more than 2,000 years since the emperor was buried, and who knows what kind of treasures or artifacts could be damaged or destroyed if the tomb is opened. There could also be unknown diseases or dangerous substances that have been preserved in the tomb for centuries. For example, in 1984, a wooden box was found that was covered with a strange black tar. When researchers tried to clean it off, they realized it was a type of bitumen that had been used to preserve human bodies in ancient times. It's possible that there are similar substances in the tomb that could be harmful to humans. Because of all these dangers, experts agree that opening the tomb could be disastrous. It would not only put the lives of archaeologists and historians at risk, but it could also damage or destroy priceless artifacts. It could also disturb a sacred burial site that should be left undisturbed. So for now, the secrets of the emperor's tomb will remain just that, secrets. We may never know what treasures or artifacts are hidden inside, or what dangers lie in wait for anyone who dares to enter. But one thing is for sure. The legend of Emperor Qin Shi Huang and his tomb will live on for centuries to come. In 2009, a team of archaeologists uncovered a 600-year-old tomb in China's Xinjiang region. The discovery made headlines around the world. After all, it was the tomb of an unknown warrior, a member of an elite guard unit from the army of Genghis Khan. But there was one oddity about the find. Archaeologists had been searching for the tomb of Genghis Khan himself for decades with no success. And now here was a member of his army entombed just as importantly as if he were royalty. So why hadn't history recorded where the greatest conqueror the world has ever seen was laid to rest? To understand the mystery of Genghis Khan's missing tomb, we need to understand the man himself. Born in 1160 in what is now Mongolia, Genghis united the nomadic tribes of the Mongolian steppe under his banner and went on to build the largest contiguous land-based empire the world has ever known. From eastern Russia to the Persian Gulf, his armies conquered more territory in a single century than any other leader before or since. Yet despite his legendary status, little is known about the great Khan. Most of what we do know comes from The Secret History of the Mongols, a book written by an anonymous author between 1240 and 1244, just decades after Genghis's death. But long before Secret History was penned, Genghis Khan died on August 11th, 220, in present-day Mongolia. According to legend, he was returning home from a campaign in the western Xia when his horse stepped on a scorpion, which stung his heel. When the pain wouldn't subside, he ordered his healers to cut off his toes. But when that didn't work, he had them put to death. Then he traveled to Burkhan Khaldun, a mountain revered by the Mongols as the home of their ancestors' spirits. There he composed his will, placed his seal on it, and drank poison while wearing a ceremonial silk robe and a crown made of iron. His followers buried him in a secret location and slaughtered everyone involved in the construction of the tomb to keep its location a secret, including the herders who tended their flocks nearby. Over time, stories of the burial site diverged. Some said the grave was filled with gold and precious stones, while others said everything of value was burned, leaving nothing behind but his armor and weapons. For centuries, historians have scoured Mongolia looking for the lost tomb. In the 1920s, Soviet explorer and archaeologist Sergei Rudnev led the first official search. Accompanied by a group of 5 men and a Chinese guide, Rudnev trekked across the mountains and plains of Mongolia for 10 weeks. They followed oral histories and legends, but came up empty-handed. Other expeditions in the 1950s and 80s met the same fate. But Genghis Khan's legacy lives on in the hearts and minds of the Mongolian people. Many believe his spirit lingers on the steppe, and the idea of disturbing his final resting place would be unthinkable. Today, Mongolians make pilgrimages to the rumored sites of his birthplace and death, where they leave flowers and pray for his blessings. In the early 21st century, new technology gave hope that the mystery could finally be solved. Satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, and magnetometers revealed potential anomalies in the Earth at several sites. But none of these turned out to be the tomb. In 2019, explorers used drones to scan a previously inaccessible cave system near Kente Bay, a mountain. They discovered an array of mysterious holes that could be as much as 1,000 years old. But after exploring over 200 feet of tunnels, they found nothing but loose stones and old animal bones. Yet some believe the answer to the mystery might lie in an unlikely place, in the pages of a medieval text. One theory holds that secret history contains coded descriptions of Genghis Khan's death and burial. Author Timothy May argues that the locations mentioned in the text can be matched with entries in a 13th century Chinese encyclopedia. If true, the Great Khan could be lying beneath a cluster of small hills near the Mongolian capital of Ulaanbaatar. Now, for his part, author and historian Rashid al-Din recorded that Genghis Khan's body was interred in a mound near the river Onon. Decades later, a mausoleum was constructed at the supposed site of his grave. But whether this is where he was truly buried, or just the closest thing Mongolia has to a designated site, remains an open question. After all, as one geographer who studies Mongolia put it, Genghis Khan is more a symbol than a person. Whatever the truth of his origins, he is an enduring image of the Mongolian soul, a fierce warrior riding across the endless steppe. In 1891, on the sacred slopes of Deir el-Bahari, near the hallowed mortuary temple of Hatshepsut, archaeologists stumbled upon a tomb of extraordinary scale and significance. It was Bab el-Gassus, also known as the priestly cache, or the second cache. Unlike most royal burials looted by time, this tomb remained remarkably intact, preserving a treasure of religious and cultural heritage. Within its hidden chambers lay 254 richly decorated coffins, forming 153 complete sets, accompanied by 110 shabti boxes, 77 wooden statuettes of Osiris, many containing papyrus texts, 2 large wooden statues of Isis and Nephthys, several wooden stelae, and practical burial items like canopic reed baskets and woven reed containers. All were carved from native fig wood and lavishly adorned. This was no ordinary tomb. It served as a communal resting place for dozens of priests of the 21st dynasty, not a single ruler. And yet its scale and preservation are unparalleled in Egyptian archaeology to this day. The discovery had its own fateful aftermath. In 1893, Khedive Abbas II generously distributed portions of the trove, artifacts, and coffins alike, as gifts to 16 countries celebrating his accession to the throne. As a result, today these ancient treasures are scattered across at least 30 museums worldwide, making it difficult to view the collection in its entirety. In 2018, to mark the 125th anniversary of the find, an ambitious project called the Gate of the Priests was launched. Scholars from the University of Coimbra, Leiden, the Vatican Museums, and UCLA collaborated to virtually reconstruct the original cache, weaving together fragments dispersed across continents. Why does Bab el-Gassus remain so compelling? Because, unlike spectacular tombs built for pharaohs, this one belonged to the religious elite, priests whose lives were dedicated to serving the gods. The artifacts, brilliantly preserved and ornate, offer rare insight into funerary rituals, coffin craftsmanship, and religious practices of the Third Intermediate Period of Egypt. More than a mere tomb, Bab el-Gassus is a remarkable window into priestly beliefs and the afterlife. Imagine standing before rows of gleaming wooden coffins, each adorned with vibrant paint, hieroglyphs, and the promise of immortality. Imagine ancient papyrus scrolls tucked inside statuettes, spells and prayers intended to guide the departed. It's the kind of archaeology that feels alive, where each object whispers stories of faith, devotion, and the enduring Egyptian tradition of connecting the earthly and divine. Bab el-Gassus reminds us that not all tombs were meant for kings. Some were built for those who bridged the world of gods and mortals, who ensured rituals continued and the divine was honored. It stands as a testament to their place in history, even when the relics of their devotion have long since been scattered. If this exploration of Bab el-Gassus captivated you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. for there are many more lost tombs and buried mysteries waiting to be unearthed.